I am extremely ignorant, is what I would say if I were ignorant, but I'm not. Anymore. Ignorance in Christianity isn't all that rare. Chances are you've met an ignorant Christian, and I would know because I was one. Ignorance outside of Christianity is generally regarded as the state of lacking knowledge, education, or information. It's a little different from stupidity or being unintelligent because it's, like I said, a lack of knowledge. Usually. A lot of people that are ignorant just don't know. But that's me assuming the best because, believe it or not, there's this thing called willful ignorance. Willful ignorance is a little bit different from not knowing or being unaware because you're simply choosing to not acknowledge something, and depending on the scenario, that can make this way worse than regular ignorance. In Christianity, people do this way too often, and it's to justify homophobia, misogyny, racism, or any other kind of hate. If you've been on the internet at all in the last 10 to 15 years, you'd know what I mean. So with that being said, I present to you a hypothetical. Let's say that you're talking to a Christian. You're talking about things of the Bible, your favorite verses, favorite people, favorite events. But during that, you bring up the second commandment that Jesus made, love your neighbor as yourself. So the Christian says that they agree with the commandment, to an extent. Then it goes downhill from there, because they start saying that the commandment doesn't apply to everyone and that they don't apply to everyone. Now, to you, this is obvious ignorance, because the disciples were told that there were no greater commandments than the two that were shared. Those being, love the Lord with everything you have and love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus did not say love your neighbor as yourself sometimes. So using the knowledge that you have, choose the better answer. A. Try and educate this hypothetical Christian, or B. Ignore the hypothetical Christian. Go. Time's up, but not really. Because if we take a look at how the Bible says to handle things, Hebrews 5 verse 2 says that every high priest is able to gently deal with those who are ignorant and going astray. And you can also look at Hosea 4 verse 6, but it's a bit of a different situation, so take that as you will. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not a high priest. However, Jesus is, and in Christianity, he's the highest of highest role models. With that being said, if you follow him, it's totally reasonable to do what he'd do. But there's not really a right answer, it's just more of how you view ignorance and the situation at hand. So let's take a look at option B. If you can't beat him, join him. To an extent. In this scenario, people like the hypothetical Christian can cause more harm than good by being ignorant. So you ignoring said ignorance can pave the way for a much worse outcome. They can actively use their willful ignorance as a means of expressing hate, and this isn't what we want. But if we look at option A, educating someone could just be a huge waste of effort. It'd be like leading a horse to water and making it drink. So obviously both options have their downsides, but one of them is more worth it to me than the other, and that option is A. When I look at the documentation of the life of Jesus, he was always going out of his way to do good because he was good. He was Jesus Christ. Now again, I don't know about you, but I'm not good. And I'm not Jesus Christ. But that means that we should do what we can because Jesus did what he could. So in the end, it's all up to you. Like all things that have to do with morality or psychology, ignorance is super complicated. But bottom line, if we can do something about something, I believe that we should try. The world could be so much more of a better place if we all did that, me included. But what do you think? Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.